Hello, this is Mr. Sam. Today I wanted to talk about success. So basically, we hear all different kinds of theory about being successful, right? So there were this group of grinding people that were like, you should take responsible for every single thing on your life, and as long as you try hard, you will always succeed. And there are many books about how to get yourself to be a very successful person. But on the other hand, we have like a very big trend of saying, oh, all of those success and all of those things are just people are being privileged, people are being lucky, and they are kind of coexisting in the internet. And even it is some kind of politically correct for like successful people to always come here, and whenever they talk about their own success story, they will always say that, of course, I am very privileged to be in this position. I am very lucky to be in this position. So I want to like talk about what are the reasons why people are thinking that success is or is not luck based. If we are like talking really hard logic, if we're talking really materialistic logic here, yes, all of the variable that determines if a person is successful or not, it's luck. Everything is luck, because you just cannot decide too much things in your life. There is just no way you can decide if your brain functions this way when you were born other than the other way. You cannot decide if you are a healthy baby or like a disabled baby. You cannot decide if you are gonna be born in America or you're gonna be born in Asia or Africa, right? And as any human being in the world, you are only getting the ability to control life around you after a certain period of time in your life. Basically, when you have access to knowledge, when you have access to books, and maybe if you're lucky enough to be in a first world country, I would say you are having like almost a full control of your life by the age of 14. You just, if you want to, you can have all the good ideas, and you can put your ideas into action, and there's so many possibilities you can do. But if you're sadly born into a very rough country, and by 14-year-old you're spending all your days cutting grass, and you have no access to education, and you just, of course, we would not say that this person there are not successful because, oh man, this guy was not working hard enough. And we can even take more extreme examples. There are countries in the world that are like in the middle of a war. You know, only a very small percentage of the population in the world have like access to education and every single thing that the people on the internet were taking for granted, but it is actually such a privileged stuff. So yes, on this perspective, it is definitely extremely luck-based. Every single thing about your success is based on luck, because only if you're lucky enough, then you get to decide on your life. But on the other hand, you can see the books, many books about how to become successful. You can see people on the internet that are preaching, they're selling you how to be successful. They're giving you like actually very useful advices. And even, you know, on the internet, if you are lucky enough to have two parents, you have your financial everything correctly, like you have access to education, most importantly, you have access to internet, water, and food, it means you have control. You have control now. And that's when all these theories about self-made millionaires, all this theory about how to be a successful person by yourself finally kicks in. And then by that time, since you have the control, you are actually having to be responsible for yourself, because you cannot, if you are like born in America, even if you're born in like a poor place in America, you still have to understand that you are having more resources than like more than 80-90% of the people in the world. And that is simply a fact. So that by realizing that you can, so there's two ways to live your life, right? Of course, success is luck-based, and if you are logical enough, you will come to the same conclusion of believing that, yes, no matter how successful I am, it is because I am privileged, I am lucky enough to be a normal kid, I am lucky enough to be in this place, I am lucky enough that my parents were this way, so that I can get into a position where I am in control of my life. But as an individual in a society, as an individual in general, it is not always the case that you want to believe in the most correct thing. It is actually more important to believe in something that maximizes your chances to reach your goal, if you have one. Like, for example, if I wanted to be successful, of course I can acknowledge that, oh, it is luck-based most of the cases, but it is actually the chances of you being a successful person, if you believe that you can work yourself out from your situation, you can grind yourself out from your situation, you can succeed, you can become a successful person by your own effort, the chances of you actually being successful by holding this kind of beliefs increases dramatically, right? And if you are there because you think that being successful is luck-based, and basically you're trying to externalize all of the factors of you not being successful, of course, yeah, it makes logical sense. It definitely makes logical sense. I hear a lot of arguments from the people that are not successful, or the people who don't want to grind, because I can't say I am successful right now, but still I want to work very hard every single day, right? I hear from the people that kind of gave up on their life is, logically speaking, if you have bad parents, for example, it's gonna affect your mental health, and it is gonna be harder for you to be disciplined, let's say. Or you are fat and you don't sleep well, so you eat a lot, you sweat a lot, and you have a bad sleep, so that you find it hard to focus on your own work, you find it hard to lose weight, and you can make excuses for that. You can say, it's because of my parents, and it is because of some childhood trauma, it is because of some mental illness that I have. The thing is, those arguments are not incorrect. Like, I say excuses, the word might not be too correct, because I would say those are the arguments, and those are absolutely justified arguments, because those kind of stuffs objectively have effects on people's life, right? But the thing is, sometimes this is not about what is correct. It is actually about what is the kind of belief I can hold right now at this moment to maximize my chance of being successful. Like, I can think about things that objectively affects my life, and those are things that like are objectively true. I can say, oh, my height was not so high, or I have not so good of a relationship with my parents, and like there's a lot of things that are not good for me objectively, and I can use them to say, yeah, those are the reasons why I cannot be a successful person, so therefore I don't want to grind. And this argument is true and were held by lots of people. And on the counterpart, you might not necessarily even be successful even if you do grind every single day. So here we can say, yeah, it is luck based. If you're really not lucky, and even if you grind every day, you are not going to be successful, etc., etc. All this kind of arguments is valid, but it is not useful. And I do believe that the better way to approach life is to get yourself a useful argument. Get yourself the belief that actually maximizes your chances of being successful. Even if you're in the most shittiest start of the game ever, like as long as you reach a point where you have access to education, it means you have the ability to think critically, and that is when you can actively change your life. And that is when you should just believe in things to maximize your chance of being the man that you wanted to be. Because if you be the one that you want to be, you're gonna be happy, and that's basically the meaning of everything, isn't it? Alright, that's basically what I wanted to say today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, I'd say.